Welcome to the Paths We Take podcast. I'm your host, Jordan DeSange. Let's hit a path. Hey there, and welcome to another episode of The Paths We Take. And today is going to be another solo episode. I promise you I have a bunch of guests coming up. Today is probably going to be the last solo episode for a while, but I just needed a bit of a break, and it is a bit chaotic sometimes, scheduling guests, always being in the studio recording. So yeah, today is going to be another short episode. I am going to be flipping through a random page of my book, The Courage to Be Seen. If you are new to the podcast, a couple years ago, I released a journal. It's a journal for understanding your story to rewrite your future. It's essentially a 20-page kind of journal going through your past, your present, and it's a full reflection journal. So I am going to be flipping through a random page right now and then reading out the question and answering the question. I, in the past on the podcast, had something called the Vulnerability Corner, which if you are an OG listener, you know that all of the guests that came on the podcast in the past picked one of 5 questions and answered one of those questions as truthfully as possible. And the questions got a bit deep. This journal is based off of those questions in a bit of an extension. So I flipped to page 39. This is day 12 in the Courage to Be Seen journal. And this one is, who was the first person to truly see you for who you are? And how did that change your life? Spend some time creating a storyline of what happened during this time. Now, I think for me, there comes to be a few people in mind, but a key kind of, I guess, memory that I had a very rough time in high school. Back when I was in high school, things were not the same as they are now. Being somebody who definitely played a lot of sport, I was quite active, but also growing up gay, it was a lot different of a time back then. You didn't talk about things like that. You still got bullied, or you got bullied significantly back then. I'm 31 now, a millennial, and times were a lot different back then. I think they're changing, and it's great for kids now, but essentially, I had a rough time in high school, but one teacher that I think always believed in me was my Spanish teacher. I distinctly remember many times of her telling me that I can be better and that I can be someone, essentially. Now, I, throughout high school, wanted so badly to be invisible, to not be seen, to not be heard, because I felt if I was vocal, if I talked, if I was seen, then, people would have an excuse to make fun of me. And it just wasn't a good feeling and a good time. But my Spanish teacher, she always essentially, I think, believed that, I had something to say, that I had the answer, that I was made for a bit more, because she would always call on me and know that I essentially had something to say in class. When I didn't, I guess, do good in a test, or when I didn't try, hard, or do essentially what I was capable of, she essentially called me out for it. And I'd never really had that before. It was kind of a weird feeling, but I think she also saw behind the scenes the little snickers that kids were making and the little comments and things like that. But, instead of her addressing that kind of stuff, she didn't exactly ignore it, but I think focused on on other things. And that was kind of building my confidence and yeah, so I feel like that is something that has stuck with me, because I feel that I still catch myself sometimes being a bit on the quiet side, not wanting to be seen, caring too much what other people think. And for some reason, I always go back to that moment or those moments in my childhood of, you know, remembering that I am capable of more and that we are sometimes capable of more, because I think a lot of the times I shrink myself, I hide my ideas, I don't go after what I want, I'm a bit too modest, and that all just comes from being a bit insecure and I guess having this fear of talking about my dreams, talking about my wants, talking about my goals, because I feel like there's always in the back of my mind this feeling of being made fun of and that I'm not built for more, essentially, or not capable of it. So, yeah, that for me is somebody that just sticks out the top of my mind, somebody that truly saw me for who I am. And I feel like the fact that I'm still talking about it now, I'm 31 years old, and I took Spanish when I was in year 9, I think. Like, clearly it stuck with me. And if I'm still talking about it now, then yeah, I guess it did change my life. So thank you for listening. I challenge you to maybe think about something or someone who truly saw you for who you are and that changed your life. And maybe write it down on a piece of paper. But yeah, thank you all for listening to this episode. I guess a little shameless plug, the journal is still available online. You can order it if you'd like. It again is a 20-day kind of journal. There are 20 different questions and activities in here, just to kind of get you to reflect on your past and present.